What's cracking, everyone? I'm VenomousStare, and today I have another game in this series between ShoWTimE and Dark. It is a best of three in which the German foreigner Protoss currently leads. This is him down here in the bottom left of good old Proxima. Last game was a very interesting macro game. Lots of aggression, lots of Hydra baneling action. As we see ShoWTimE open for a gateway. I would highly recommend watching game 1 because this is a best of 3. So ShoWTimE's going to go for a block here at the third. This is very common. A lot of Zergs like to take their natural out here at the less safe location so they can start their creep spread. As it stands though, Dark is just going to take his pocket base, not really an issue, and he's going to gas and pool very quickly, and as soon as his pool finishes he should have around 100 gas for link speed. So ShoWTimE cancels the pylon there, and that's actually a bit interesting as we see the Protoss expansion go down, because as a Zerg player, or I should say when I'm laddering as Zerg, it's very frustrating to have my expansion blocked by a pylon. And the really frustrating thing about having my expansion blocked by a pylon is, unlike just a dancing probe like this, I'm going to have to make lings to clear it out. Right now, ShoWTimE's just going to get warded off with this drone, and this drone, he has enough money to make a hatch, and he's going to do it. So look at this, the spawning pool hasn't even finished yet. Had ShoWTimE let that pylon finish, Dark would have had to wait like that 15 seconds for this to finish, and then wait for the lings to come out, and then waste the larva on the lings. Potentially even having to make an extra couple lings that he would rather have drones. And I know that might sound like nothing as ShoWTimE goes for Stargate. It might sound inconsequential, a few extra lings in the early game, to the average viewer. But it's actually a really big deal for Zerg especially to have to invest into these attacking units early on when they would rather just be making mass drone. So I think that overall the pylon block is good. It was a good move for ShoWTimE, but I personally would have preferred to see the pylon finish. But to each his own. The Stargate is an extremely strong structure in Protoss vs Zerg, and it is a build and a style that allows you to get a lot of scouting information off. Let's see what ShoWTimE goes for here. It's usually Phoenix or Oracle, so it's going to be the Oracle, and the Adept is going to run in here and scout around. Notice that Dark just has one drone mining, as the Adept Shade was cancelled. Another Adept coming forward. And there are some unit combos in StarCraft 2 that are particularly powerful. And what I mean by that is, for instance, one Adept, like, okay, it can scout around, but it can't do a whole lot of damage. Two Adepts can one-shot a drone, because it just takes each of them to throw their little volley out once, and the drone dies. Just like a Banshee, as we see Dark, who is known for his speed overlord play, is seeing it all, like he actually dialed that number and bought the Girls Gone Wild DVDs. The Oracle is out here, the Adepts are poking around, but Lings are out here and the Adepts might actually get surrounded, as one of them does not have shields, and that's actually really bad for ShoWTimE, as ShoWTimE was briefly supply blocked, and with the Oracle there, he's going to be able to ward off the enemy Lings. Dark has an Evo chamber coming. Now notice Dark has gone for this extraordinarily common style we see lots of Zergs going for, where they just really focus on mineral income. They delay their gas geysers, even electing to just mine with one drone. Look at that, not even triple digits mining gas for the Zerg, but a lot of mineral income. That's because Zerg wants to mass as many drones as possible as a revelation goes down there and sees what? Not much of anything, really. But these Oracles were just flying around to scout. It is good to always fly around with Oracles and constantly be using the revelation ability. The last thing you want to do is build one or two Oracles and just forget about them and leave them idle. This is perfect. Now this is a very good revelation, as now he sees the Lings. He's going to see the Lings for an extended period of time. That means that if the Lings would have potentially caught him off guard, or pressured this third base, which has almost been completed, and obviously the Overlord knows now that it's been zapped. ShoWTimE knows about it, so good moves here by ShoWTimE to try to keep tabs on Dark. And it's interesting because Dark is really the Protoss who is known for keeping tabs, or excuse me, Dark is the Zerg who is known for keeping tabs on Protoss players because he very frequently gets quick Overlord speed and scouts really well. Dark is probably going to take this gold as he has run a drone out here. And this was rather predictable, and ShoWTimE even was able to predict it, I would say, because he did put Revelation on these Lings, so he was able to see them breaking down rocks. And really, if someone's breaking down these rocks, it means they want this gold base, especially this early on in the game. Void Ray on patrol. This is wonderful stuff. A lot of the Korean Zergs like to do some of these cutesy Ling drop or Bane drop things, where they'll just run in with a couple Dropper Lords full of Banes and drop on your mineral line, and it's extraordinarily hard to defend against. Also, it protects against Nidus, it protects against scouting, and I think that honestly ShoWTimE is concerned about scouting most of all because he knows how much Dark loves to run in with speed Overlords and scout, as he does lose an Oracle there. That's actually kind of bad. He was stuck up in a tough spot, but I think he might have been able to get out. Templar Archives almost completed here for ShoWTimE. Third base alive and kicking, double pylon coming up. Charge is about halfway done, +1 is about halfway done. Immortals are on the way, double Robo is out, and it looks like the Baneling drops are going to occur here. So wonderful stuff here from ShoWTimE, preemptively predicting not only the strat, but where it would occur. Great stuff. Now it is worth noting that whenever you open Overlord speed, you're much more likely to go into Baneling drops, or Ling drops, because obviously the Overlord speed synergizes well with the build, and you really need it for it to work. So is this Void going to miss it? This is like a Metal Gear Solid moment. And it does hit it after all. Whoop! I can't make the noise with my mouth properly. So 2 Banes get out. Takes 2 Banes to kill workers. You ZVZ players know that. And beautiful pull out there. As I should probably not make that analogy, as we see the 4th base being contested there for ShoWTimE by Dark. And the sentries were pressured as well. And the 4th is cancelled there. And the 4th is taken, excuse me, the 5th is taken for the Zerg. Forgot about the infamous gold base. And a revelation occurs, mostly on static buildings that can't do anything. +2 melee is on the way. And to go back to what I was talking about the Overlord speed being indicative of the drop builds, because I know a lot of you newer players kind of are told to scout, like you're told by people that are better than you at the game, like, yeah, you need to scout, as you see in Oracle chases off Lings, but you look in your opponent's base and don't really know what to look for or what really anything means. Well, if someone goes super fast Overlord drops, or excuse me, super fast Overlord speed, as you see an attack possibly coming here for ShoWTimE, it probably means, especially if they're going with this mass Ling style, it probably means they're going to try to be aggressive with Baneling and Ling drops, as we see a huge flank might happen here for Dark. It could just be a counter also, as the 4th is halfway done, and suddenly I think ShoWTimE kind of realizes what's going on, but he wasn't really quick enough to react. He decides he wants to attack instead. He's going to warp in here, and he really needs an OBS out here, as the 4th gets cancelled again. And this is so easy to defend as Zerg whenever your Protoss opponent is trying to attack you but forgets to make an OBS. Does he even have a Robo? He has 2 Robo. He had them earlier. Here we go. Bane attack. And the Warp Prism drops. Size Storm everywhere. And lots of Banes go down. But on the same side, we see that ShoWTimE is down in supply. And Dark has a lot left. Now this is Ling Bane. Ling Bane is pretty bad against Immortal Archon. And Dark splashes a lot of Banes into Archons there. High temps. Ooh. Oh my god. Did he just kill those with a Bane drop? And Lings come forward. We're going to have to watch that again, as the Ling Bane suddenly crushes forward without the possibility of Size Storm. ShoWTimE GG's. Oh my god, we have to rewind. I'm almost certain that that Dark came forward here at the end and just dropped banes right on the face of ShoWTimE's high temps. We're going to throw it into slow-mo here when it needs to be put into slow-mo, that is. So this is extraordinarily important to note that ShoWTimE didn't have an observer. So let's look at Dark's vision. He sees this army just like we're watching the game on YouTube in third person. Like, he knows exactly where the High Templars are. He knows exactly how much army ShoWTimE has. ShoWTimE has double. Here we go. He has an obs coming, but I don't. Yeah, let's pause it because we're on the replay after all. Does he have the robotic support bay? No. So he doesn't have obs speed, which, I mean, he's going into Templar tech. I wouldn't really expect him to. But we see how crucial this is going to be. Let's look at Dark's vision. Actually, I don't want to watch from Dark's vision, but Dark obviously knows. So the fourth is cancelled, so ShoWTimE has to kill him here. He's forced to push, right? So he has the Warp Prism here, and then, okay. And at this point, ShoWTimE, his hand is forced. He really wants to push, but okay, pause. What does he make here? It's tricky. He doesn't have the time to make more Archons, because the Zerg, he's on creep. Hey, I'm in the middle of a cast. I'm almost done. Whoever is on the mic. Whatever, I just aborted them. So it's very important to note that ShoWTimE has complete vision of his army, basically, and that means that if Dark sees a bunch of DTs being warped in from Warp Prism trying to merge into Archons, he'll just attack and kill everything. And Adepts or Light get countered by Ling Bane, and so are Zealots, and Stalkers really aren't all that great. So what are his options here? Well, he's completely panicked, and he's been wanting to attack for the last minute and a half, and his fourth has been cancelled twice. So let's see what he does, and let's see what Dark does more importantly. This is Gosu. Nobody does this. This is so good. Look at that. That's like one of those things so filthy and so incredibly unexpected where you almost can't even prepare for it, and when it happens it's just like, oh, well, that was so great, GG. I mean, I've never even seen that. Like, the most reminiscent thing of something that unique was the last time, this was a long time ago, in Pro League, whenever Parting, it was a PvP and Parting was playing and he wanted to do a really sick attack versus a Protoss, and he had to kill the Mothership Core. It was like a 2-base thing. And he like flew in with the High Templar and a Warp Prism and dropped it and feed back the Mothership Core and then attacked. Anyway, that was Game 2. Game 3 will be on the way. Have a good one, guys. Subscribe and like the video.